are live. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Black Friday, November 27th, and you're watching My Community Manager, the community built by, for, and managed by community managers. As always, you can hang out with us at our Twitter chat, which is at #CMGR Hangout, where I know a bunch of you are right now. So, hey, what's up, Twitter peeps? And, hey, if you love what you're seeing today, or maybe you have an idea for a future show or topic or guest, or you just want to come hang out with us, head over to our website at www.mycmgr.com. Click on Participate. That link, there's a form there. You fill it out, and that sends some info to me, Dom, and Sherry, and we'll connect with you. It's really your show. It's your ideas. We just show up on Friday and press broadcast. So, all right, what do we have for you this week? Well, this week's topic is Holidays 101 for community managers. So it's kind of that glorious time of year. We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have New Year's coming up, and no matter what time, it's really it's always a dilemma for community managers, right? Like, how do we take our time off? Do we actually get to celebrate the holidays? Can we even unplug? And what about global communities who don't even celebrate those same holidays? So we promise there's a way to do it. We have some really smart people with us today, and we're just going to jump in and let everybody introduce themselves, starting with Carrie. Hey, Carrie, how you doing? Hey, Brock, how you doing?
Hey, bro. I think we're just like technology's just done with us today.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? It's Brock DC on Twitter. My lower thirds are not working, and I'm super excited to be talking about this, and I'm glad we have Amber and Carrie. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your days off to join us on the air, and yeah, excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Hey, Carrie, we got you now?
Yeah, was that just me dropping off?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
From that split.
Cool.
It's one of those days.
Yeah, so I am Carrie Jones. I am the Director of Content at CMX. Previously ran community at Chegg and Scribd, and a community consultant for companies like Socratic, Pico by Omelic, and yeah, I keep pretty busy. And so I guess today is a day off, but I feel like, I don't know, this doesn't feel like work, so I'm not doing anything out of the normal. Yeah, so.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And Amber, how are you? More internet problems today.
CMO called Meshfire. We have a social media management platform with an AI component, so it's kind of like having an AI assistant there to pick out content and find out what's relevant. And we actually have our community manager in the chat, Barack.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. So let's just jump into question number one right away. Kristen's hanging out with us on Twitter. Shout out to Kristen. So thanks for helping us over there, as always. Number one is, do you have a policy in place for your community around the holidays? And if you do, what are some of the key elements? So any of you guys deal with holiday policies at all?
So I'll jump in. We do at Google for the Google Small Business community, and it's so weird. This is the last time I'll be able to say that on the air because I'm not going to be with them anymore. But the policy that we put in place is we let people know that we're going to be off for a few days, but because it's a small business community, we try not to be so tone deaf and say like, hey, we're taking days off while you guys are still working. So for like Small Business Saturday, we put up a post and pinned the post across all of our social channels on Wednesday, and we're like, happy Small Business Saturday, happy Thanksgiving for celebrating, and we didn't say that we're taking the time off, and because we're such a large community and we have spam issues, we have moderators who are checking on the community for spam but not actually engaging, so we're technically off. So that's really the policy we have on the back end. We don't really say anything about it on like public guidelines, but that's how we're managing it.
Cool. For us over at BTC, we have, we cover our clients' accounts what we would call most days. So our coverage, it really lends itself more to a babysitting role on a holiday like Thanksgiving or on Christmas, where we make sure that nothing's blowing up or nothing bad's happening, and we're hearing about it in social. So it's just like peering in, doing monitoring. But we try to give as much of our community managers the day off on those days as possible, and then take care of the ones who kind of have to sit at mission control and double up, triple up, quadruple up monitoring rules for that day. And I think that's I think for us a key element on that policy is sort of like we're not there to interact, we're not there to drive anything, we're really just there to monitor. So.
Yeah, we don't really have much of a policy currently at Meshfire because we have such a small community. But one of the things that we do is, again, going back to what you guys said, just sharing the responsibility of, monitoring. It's not so much, again, putting out content. It's just making sure that if a customer might have a problem, that we're still there, and letting people know that, hey, we're still here if you have an issue.
Yeah, we have at CMX anyway, like it's mostly a B2B community, so we just let people know like we're not really working today. And I think almost in a B2B community, it's this assumption that like take it easy, and that's sort of our culture too. So we don't do anything really with that, and I would call that ad hoc community management. It's not at all like a policy or organized at all. But I think that all stems back to like what our culture is, and so it's easy to be like, okay, well, we're just not going to be there today, and no one's going to expect us to be there. So.
Well, yeah, and I think also if you're not looking for engagement within the communities, meaning like I think probably a few years ago, I remember we would write that cute content, like the Thanksgiving Day posts and things like that. But I feel like as time goes on, we even peel back, using those, right? It's like, well, if we're not going to be around, maybe we're not even producing content for that day, so which helps kind of keep things a little bit more quiet too.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, how do you decide which holidays to celebrate within your community? So are there any holidays that you definitely celebrate?
Community Manager Appreciation Day.
All right. I was waiting for that. I thought that was the first one that came to my head. Yeah.
Yeah, we have like full programming that we're working out. But I mean, when you say celebrate, you mean like actually create content around it and like be online.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, so I can say that Valentine's Day, for instance, is a holiday that it's not like we're like, oh, need the day off.
Yeah.
But absolutely one we celebrate with our different communities. So that was one that came to my head. Any others?
We definitely.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I think CMAD is a good example. I mean, even though it's a it's a hallmark holiday for community managers. I mean, it really is a holiday for us, and I think that having your community be in community makes sense to celebrate. So sorry, Barack, I cut you off.
No worries. So obviously Small Business Saturday and Small Business Week. In March, we did a lot to do with that with the Google Small Business community. We have basically content that is just curated around that, and that's specific content for Small Business Saturday is to encourage people to shop small, and then for Small Business Week, we kind of make it all about our members and the small business owners. And then we do kind of pick like fun little holidays, and I actually do this with all of Amber's seen me do this with Meshfire too. I think I did it with like National I Love You Day and National Chocolate Day, and I put together like a really cute little post because
it was adorable.
But I think it really depends on your community. There are the big ones that you celebrate, like Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, and like things like that are also specific to your community. Like we have a lot of gaming at Meshfire, like gaming community managers. So anything specific around gaming or like a game activation or launch that we know is relevant to them, we'll do something around it. So I think it just really matters who your members are, what matters to them, and if like a little cute off holiday is actually important to them, make sure that you create content around it to acknowledge that, hey, we know that this is important to you, we're here like celebrating with you.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, we have a lot of customers in different geographic locations. So we might have a U.S. holiday, but, you know, most of our customers are over in the U.K. So sometimes we try to mix and match what holidays maybe we'll celebrate, just depending on the locations of our customers and our community.
I'm going to bring in a question real quick here for us from Mariano. Hey, Mariano, thanks for joining us on this Black Friday. Mariano asks, we all want to unplug. Also, our audience might want to unplug as well, right? So is it even worth spending time and effort on community engagement these days? And I mean, I think we touched on it a little bit. I would say, you know, on certain days, maybe not. Maybe it is just a day to unplug and to give everybody a break. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I think it also goes, like, it's a great question, and I think it also goes to, kind of touches on whether or not you want to, as a brand manager or a community manager, whether or not you want to spend those days, like, taking advantage of a hashtag and just kind of hashtag jacking because you don't want to do that. So I think it is definitely worth it, like, on big holidays that everyone knows, totally unplug, you're expected to. Like Amber mentioned, it's letting people know that if there is like a fire to put out or an emergency, you'll be there. But other than that, don't engage. So it is definitely worth it to unplug and let your members unplug too from whatever community you're in, and then let them do their thing. But sometimes it's like if it's a regular day and then you're gonna be on anyway, why not make an effort to just kind of be, you know, go that extra little step to engage with them, but definitely unplug. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. So great question.
All right, let's jump us into number 3 here, which is how does community management differ for B2B and B2C communities during the holidays?
Well, I can share the B2B perspective. I mean, I think it's probably my job is a little easier with the CMX community being B2B. Me and David Spink's working on that. Because, again, it's like we get business holidays off usually in the U.S., so we're all kind of speaking the same language there around, like, when we get time off. I would say there's probably still, like, more we could do around, like, elevating members to be moderators and volunteer, like to take spam over and things like that, but because our community is not like, you know, doesn't go crazy when we leave the room, we haven't really had that issue. So I think with B2B, there's almost this like already existing expectation of like, take it easy, unplug a little bit on nationally recognized holidays in the US, so yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of B2C communities. They'll just put a message out or content out, and it's mostly promotional, especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas with, you know, the Black Friday deals and the Cyber Monday deals. And they pretty much just put that stuff out there and then just kind of walk away. they get out of there because the first thing I notice if they put something out on Twitter that has anything to do with a product, it's just going to be like, oh, well, coupon code doesn't work, and this doesn't. Yeah, and it's just constant stream of a lot of community just kind of at you at once. So what I see a lot in those communities is not so much engagement. It's more of just kind of simple moderation if, say, a coupon code doesn't work.
I think that possibly, I'm just gonna not contradict here, but I think I think a B2B community actually has a small advantage possibly on holidays if they do just spend a little time engaging. Because if you think about it, right? I mean, you'll hear a lot of times about the ability for this brand to just build a relationship with somebody online. I think, and maybe this kind of is more on the side of social media, but why wouldn't you just log in, see what your customers are doing that day, and comment as the brand, right? And build that real special connection during a moment when they're having, a special day for themselves. And so I think, even though we might naturally want to just take off, it's also maybe an opportunity day as well. Not the whole day, obviously, but maybe for half hour, I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and I think you can find that out like by polling your community beforehand. Be like, hey, what are you guys doing for the holidays? Are you taking time off? Like, what are you doing this day? And then you can kind of plan it around that, even in B2B, because like I've been working with small business owners for the past like 3 years, and I've been working in B2B for the past 3 years, and there's always an opportunity. It just asks, like, I always come back to the Occam's razor of just ask your community. Like, don't guess, don't try to like figure things out, but be like, hey, Thanksgiving is coming up. What are you guys doing? Or Small Business Saturday is coming up. Are you doing anything special about it? And then if you and your team want to make the effort of going onto their page and or commenting, or even giving them a shout out on social media when they're doing something, that little effort will go a long way in B2B and B2C, because it's all people. They're all celebrating, working, all trying to get by, and it's our jobs as community managers to just kind of give them that extra recognition for that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an opportunity to give recognition, a little bit of love. Let's see if there's anything coming. Did you have anything to say? Oh, sorry, I thought, Amber, you were jumping in. No, nothing.
No, but I mean, I do really agree with the fact that there is a great opportunity to actually have a personal touch during these holidays. I mean, it's kind of not related, but somewhat related. Yesterday, I sent an email to my dentist, and they replied on Thanksgiving to help me set my appointment. And I'm like, what are you doing? But this is awesome. Like, thank you for being there.
Yeah.
So I think there's great opportunities to just kind of surprise people and engage with them during holidays. Like, what are you guys still doing working? Well, we're here for you. Just those little touches like that. People, I mean, personally, it just kind of astounded me that, my dentist emailed me back on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't help but notice as soon as dinner was over, pretty much everyone was out on the couches and chairs, and everyone's like this.
On their phones, right? Yeah.
And so, as a brand, I think there's opportunities, at least for some of those, like, big community members, or like brand advocates, things like that, is just to say, like, hey, how was your Thanksgiving dinner? Having a good Christmas. Yeah.
I'm going to be contrarian and say, like, I don't want people to be engaging with me on social media on a holiday. Like, I want to live in a world where people want to connect with their family and their friends face to face on holidays, and don't feel like I'm going to lose all my loyalty for them as a brand or a business because they haven't like tweeted Happy Thanksgiving at me. Like, I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where, like, maybe after the Thanksgiving holiday they write me a letter, or something like that. I think there's probably more personal, like, things that you could do once you're back in the office, but I want people to be able to feel like they can take time off. I don't expect a response right away.
Yeah, time off for themselves.
But
yeah, no, I hear you.
I also understand the, like, I want the great service too. But I just don't know who's going to do that work is the thing, and so I feel like I feel for that person who is like on their email. I don't know.
We'll have to just like figure out a national exchange program where we kind of like help each other out around the globe. Like, oh, I don't celebrate that holiday. Let me take a shift for you and help you just do the simple parts of your account.
Totally. That's actually a really big advantage of having a global community, is that, you have people in different countries that aren't celebrating the holidays, or like it's already past the holiday where they are, so you can delegate accordingly.
Yeah, we definitely do that. The person who is actually watching our community is overseas, like for spam. So, and we also take turns like during our hours when he's not working. But yeah, it's a huge advantage of being able to do that. I like it. I also just want to say that like I think it's nope, I totally lost my thought. Never mind. Cool. Let's move on.
Well, I'll come to the rescue with a question from Twitter. So hey, Christine, thanks for joining us today. Christine asked, "Do you guys send community members swag or little gifts on the holidays?" Because hey, she loves swag. So
We don't for around the holidays, but we do around different activations. Only because, well, one community that I work with has over 700,000 members, so it's a little hard to do everyone. But I think for Meshfire, we try to do little things like that too, like little recognition swag, just depending on. Um, it's not just around the holidays because, like we've said, like we have, like Amber mentioned, we have members from all over the world, but it's the little recognition of swag, so we don't wait for holidays to do that. I think it's more of a surprise and delight kind of deal.
yeah, I think it's tough for holidays because then other people might expect it, right? Or feel,
Yeah.
or feel like, oh, I guess I wasn't worth a Christmas present, right? And I mean, I think that as a community member, um, yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense to get that swag when it's not a big holiday. Otherwise, that could be an expensive bill each year, right? Yeah. So number 4 is how do you manage your brand voice around the holidays? So does your voice change at all?
We try to keep it as sober as possible.
That's just every day, though. I mean, we try to do that every day. But I think it's important not to change your voice, right? Like you want your brand voice to be the same. So if you're going to be celebrating a holiday, do it in your own way, and not, if you change your brand voice, then it's not. And this is my least favorite word in the world, but authentic, because people can tell that you're just being. I mean, we've all seen those articles, like the worst examples of brands hopping onto like hashtags on holiday stuff and trying too hard. So you've already established a voice, your members already know you, so stick to it, and they'll appreciate whatever it is that you say as long as you're saying it in a way that you would any other day.
So just don't let your voice change. It's a key message. What about you, Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like your brand voice should be something that you're not deciding on the holiday, like what your brand voice should be. You probably already have like a style guide or something like that, and maybe there's a couple key messages. If you are offboarding moderation or any kind of posting on the holidays, you probably should have a couple key messages that person can like go back to again and again that uphold the already existing brand voice. That would be the way I would delegate it.
It's interesting. Some of these holidays, I think, too, are just getting...
Sometimes...
Oh, go ahead, Amber. Sorry. Nope. Did we lose you again?
You cut me off again, Brew.
It's the internet. It's not me.
No, I notice a lot around... Yeah, I know. I notice a lot around holidays, like brands sometimes tend to become very robotic almost with their community and their voice, and I'm just kind of like, guys, keep it like warm and fun. People want to be entertained. They don't want to be sold. I guess I would say, a lot of it's just kind of like Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving, and it's just there's no content there. There's nothing fun. So, I mean, like yesterday, I saw some really cool like videos and GIFs and stuff, things that I can watch when I'm sitting there maybe on the couch. It's just, I don't know. I think keeping things a little bit less rigid with your brand voice and keeping it fun and entertaining is what people really want.
So more like a, hey, turkey, tweet like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the butterball. Do you guys see the butterball thing?
No. What was the butterball thing?
Barack loves this. So Barack can tell you more about it.
Well, they basically created a parody song around Hotline Bling, and it's called Talkline Bling, and they've been tweeting about it, and they actually wrote out like an entire song lyrics. They haven't made a video for it yet, because I mean, I don't know, like for people who might not know, Butterball does a hotline every year for like you can call in, and there was a West Wing episode about this too. Like you can call in, and they'll help you with your recipes and any questions you have, and they've been doing this for 30 years. And this year they decided to do hashtag Talkline Bling, and if you just look up the hashtag, it's kind of hilarious, and I like was having a blast with it yesterday, like just following along. So apparently they've tweeted at Drake a couple of times, and he hasn't responded yet. So whatever. Drake, you're not too good for Butterball. Come on now. But
amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Amazing. I want to see like a Drake meme video with him like making a turkey and dancing with it now, like with the tennis racket. Like.
Or the turkey hat, the turkey like helmet thing.
I actually have one. I'm not gonna bring it out because it's right next to me, but I actually have
one. Oh, you got to bring it out now.
You have a turkey helmet?
Okay, you can't leave us hanging.
I did a tofurkey trot yesterday, so tofurkey engaged the local Portland community by running a charity like 5K. So my friends and I all put on these turkey.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it.
The vegans were not impressed, but yeah. So there you go, turkey hat, the thing.
I think Brew doesn't.
That is amazing.
David have one too.
Doesn't? Yes. Oh yeah, Historian has one. Yes.
Yeah. So.
But just for the lulz, I think. Like,
oh yeah, I think he just has one for the hell of it. But yeah.
He wears it all the time.
Except Thanksgiving. All right. So let's see. There's no more questions coming in. So hey, everybody watching, feel free, tweet in your questions. We're here to answer them. But while we wait for your questions, we're gonna go on to question number 5, which is if you're technically off on a holiday, how do you manage spam moderation? Do you even care?
We care. We just outsource it. Or, I mean, okay. So as community managers, I think we even on our phone we'll still check in if we don't have spam moderation. I think if you are not big enough to outsource it, or you have a lot of spam issues, like you'll still be checking things, especially if it's a community that's on a forum or that's based in on a platform that other members are able to put on. So like whatever they're posting will show up in the stream, and you have to moderate it. So I still check on my phone, but you're not supposed to. Don't do what I do. But yeah, I think it just matters on the size of your community and what kind of spam you usually get on a normal day, and whether or not you need to kind of handle that around the holidays.
Yeah, what we've noticed at CMX, and a couple of my clients have done this too, is actually like a couple of members that we know will be online because they're just like so obsessed with, like checking these things. We give them the power to moderate on our behalf, just as volunteers. So with like CMX is running a Facebook group, and I actually got a spam thing, like someone alerting me of spam on there yesterday. It makes it really easy for members to just be like, hey, mark this as spam, and then write a note about why. Yeah, so if you have like really engaged members, you can even tap them, and if you don't have a budget to do these things, and say like, hey, if you're online, just let me know if you see anything weird, and we'll take it down. Or if you have moderation tools built into the platform, even better.
I was just going to bring up here, I just saw on Twitter, Tom says, hey, I had to moderate spam yesterday, and sometimes you just have to do it. So that's Tom. Thanks, Tom. And then I also found this little beauty on the internet. Thanks, Barack. You used to call me on my dial phone. I can't I can't believe that only got 2 retweets. That's smart content right there. In fact, I can't get that little ditty out of my head now. So.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
now it's back.
You used to call me on my dial phone. Okay. Just turn this into karaoke. All right. Question number 6. How can community managers ever truly unplug, even when technically off for holidays? So let's talk about that. How can you actually unplug? How can you get away from it all? Smash your phone?
Yeah, Amber, why didn't you tell us a little bit about this? Because you were technically unplugged when you were on vacation.
Yeah, technically. It's mostly just, having a good support system. It might be tough if you're, the only community manager. Barack and I share a lot of the responsibility for managing the community at Meshfire. And I went to Hawaii for a week, and she pretty much just told me, like, do not touch anything. Don't touch anything. Of course I touched stuff. I touched everything. And then she's like, what are you doing? You're on vacation. And I'm like, okay, fine. You take it, you do it. But I think having a good plan of attack before a holiday comes up and sharing the responsibility is key to actually unplugging. A lot of it is just forcing yourself not to take care of your baby community. If something's wrong, of course you might want to jump in, but you kind of have to force yourself just to kind of just not do it, and just let the person handle it that's supposed to handle it.
Yeah, and what about a practice run, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think like so often, kind of like, all right, I got to do this holiday, or yeah, I'm going to take off. I mean, forget about holidays. Let's just talk about unplugging in general, right? I think the reason it's so hard for us to peer back in is because it's our baby, it's our community. Like, you sort of wonder, well, I wonder what so and so is talking about today, or because these are things that you're used to seeing every day. But I think by doing a little bit of practice unplugging, whoever is going to help take over, possibly it'll get you used to, maybe unplugging little bits of it at a time, or even, I guess, really just having that trust that nothing's going to be set on fire, that I'll be there when you come back. Because for me, I think that was early on for me. That was probably my biggest concern about not unplugging, was more trust issues, if anything. Like, what'll happen if I'm not there?
Yeah, I like the test run idea when it's not a crazy big day. I mean, I worked as a community manager just by myself for years as a consultant, and having a team, like when I started with the Google Small Business Community, it was so weird. They were like, no, like you can actually take a vacation and you can actually do this. We have 2 other community managers handling it. So like Amber mentioned, it's really a sport, and I just have issues delegating, so it's a personal issue for me. But I'm learning to be a team player. But yeah, I think having a good support system and just trusting in your team, and if you are by yourself, then if you are a freelancer like I have been for so long, kind of letting your client know, hey, like when I do take a vacation, I'm like having kind of an action plan in place for them. If like this is how I do this, like if this comes up, why don't you guys handle it like this? Kind of educating your client if you're the only community manager is also will also save you some headaches if you are solo, like I used to be. So.
Carrie, what about you? What's your tricks on kind of unplugging?
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily start with a holiday or even a vacation, but rather like setting boundaries all year long. So what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, and like what is going to make you miserable, and knowing those things. And actually, Jen at Moz gave a really great talk at CMX Summit about like how to take vacations as a community manager. So she started out as a solo community manager at Moz, and she was diagnosed with cancer and basically had to just go offline for months and months and months, and nobody was managing the community at that time. And so it taught her a really hard lesson about how to delegate and the necessity of building a team around her so that things wouldn't just like fall apart when she left. And I think that's what really great managers are able to do, but it takes a lot of practice. But basically how she suggested doing it is sitting down with your team, if you're a solo person too, just writing out what you love to do and what you hate to do, and just being completely honest about what those things are, so that when they come up, you're able to say, this thing that I hate, I should delegate, or when I hire someone on the team, I should find someone who's really good at this thing that I hate, so that I can hand it off to them, and when I take vacations, I don't have to worry about that thing at all. So I think just keeping your boundaries in mind at all times, and like thinking about what work really drives you and keeps you energized, and what work really drains you and just completely contributes to your burnout, basically. Keeping those things in mind, communicating about them constantly internally with your team, and then externally communicating when you're going to be offline and setting expectations. Just, yeah, I think it all comes down to like knowing yourself, knowing your boundaries, and then communicating them, and hopefully delegating at some point once your team grows.
That's awesome. All very good tweetable content too. So hopefully by the time Twitter catches up in about, I think, 2 or 3 more minutes, hopefully we'll see a tweet about that. So, all right, I'm gonna bring in. We got 2 questions that just came in. First is William Jenkins. Just wonders if the panel has any hilarious examples of a brand voice being clearly a little drunk during the holidays. I don't have a URL handy, but I remember way back in the day doing Twitter 101 talks. There was one about somebody getting slizzard.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were like, just picked up 2. I don't even remember what brand it was, but they're like, just picked up 2 bottles of Dogfish Head ale or whatever, about to get slizzard, and did it from the brand account, which was pretty funny. And then I know, I think it was the Red Cross actually, and then the Red Cross and Dogfish Head Brewery ended up, saying that, well, don't worry, we took away the keys to the Twitter account or something like that, made kind of a joke. But then Dogfish Head Brewery turned it into a positive thing, and then they actually did like a mini fundraiser or something for the Red Cross, which I thought was like a cool ending to that story. That's all I got.
Yeah, I've seen some brand accounts, and it usually happens around the holidays, especially like New Year's Eve or Christmas. It's not so much, I would say, drunk tweeting. It probably is, but it's a lot of things that were supposed to be DMs. They'll accidentally get sent out like on an account. It's just a lot don't make sense, but then once you realize like, oh, that was supposed to be a DM. I see that happen a lot around holidays. I've seen a lot of brands falsely portray that maybe they're a little tipsy, and it's just kind of like a PR thing. But it does get kind of interesting, especially just watching the streams and trying to find like, hey, maybe that brand is actually kind of a little drunk and they shouldn't be tweeting.
Go home, you're drunk. Mariano asked another question. I still think B2C has more opportunities for engagement, but if you could do any action for B2B, what would you do, even just for fun?
Pick a fight. I mean, it's the holidays. You might as well. I mean, go find your competitor, pick a fight with them.
Who doesn't fight on the holidays, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. So this wasn't a. I think they're technically B2C. It's the gaming companies like Sonic and Nintendo and everything. But I tweeted about it. Like this was last week, and they we're doing in November, kind of like a battle of the mustaches and the gaming characters, and everybody just jumped on, and it was amazing. Like, so it's like picking a fake fight, but you can totally do that with B2B. It just obviously depends on who your competitors are and who you're working with, but, or like, I mean, even if you're not picking a fight, just fun activations around like remembering that even B2B, your members are people. They need vacation. They have like a sense of humor, and they have like things. So if there are things you picked up on, or if you want to show your fun side, just, you know, have fun with it. Obviously, stick with it in brand voice and guidelines and all of that, depending on how rigid they are. But just have fun. Like, they're people. Even with B2B, I'm trying to think of another good example besides pick a fight, but I think that wins.
Pick a fight. You heard it here first. First, folks. Yeah. All right. Last question, and then we're out of questions. So, how should community we'll edit that in post, right? How should community managers let their members know that they're taking time off? You just announce it, update your bio.
See ya.
Go dark.
I would say like take I call it like an 80-20 approach, which is like 20% of your members give you like 80% of the value in your community. I mean, that's a controversial statement, but it's backed by an economic principle called the 80-20 rule. So you basically find those like top members and you let them know like what to expect, because they're going to be your ambassadors essentially while you're gone. Like if you're going on a vacation, for instance, for like an extended period of time, like, hey Ben, or like, hey Jane, I'm going to be gone for this long. Just so you know, here's what might happen. Here's who's going to be stepping in, so that they can be your voice while you're gone. So if you're not responding to someone right away, they can be like, oh, well, don't worry, Carrie's on vacation. She'll be back in 2 weeks. That always worked really well for me, especially when I was at Chegg, because I would get like emails all the time, and then people would like go to the community and be like, why is Carrie not emailing me back? And then the members who I told would be like, she's on vacation, she really needs a break. Like, so that was great. And then I think you can still put out like a day or two before you leave your own note saying like, I'm not going to be here in the community responding to things. Here's what to expect. If anything's super urgent, here's a person to talk to about it. Hopefully that's not your personal cell phone number that you're giving them to call. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the size of the community and the nature of the community and how you engage with them regardless. Because, I mean, obviously if you're doing, like if you have people emailing you all the time, the email signature, like the auto reply is sometimes good enough. But if it's a global community and you are taking off for a holiday that's maybe US based, but people are still doing their thing, they're not taking off that holiday, it's really important to not kind of throw it in their face that you're taking time off, because that people get really sensitive about that. So I think it's basically just kind of really doing it, setting the expectations throughout the year, and then doing it in kind of a not a tone-deaf way of being like, hey, like, our team is going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving and Small Business Saturday, you know, and we don't say like, oh, we're taking time off. It's just like, hey, we're celebrating. But, I mean, people will pick up on the fact that, oh, there's like nobody posting, like no new content coming in or no new engagement. So I think it really depends, because you don't want to be like, oh, we're taking time off. See ya. Like, so it's just setting clear communication guidelines throughout the year before the holidays come up is really important.
Awesome. Well, we are out of questions. We are out of questions on Twitter. So is there anything you guys would like to kind of add as a last piece of advice about unplugging in holidays? And if not, we could just click stop broadcast and unplug a little for the holidays.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I know.
Yeah, and thank you guys for joining. And have an awesome weekend. Maybe go out a little bit, enjoy some Black Friday madness. or not. And
No.
we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.